You're listening to the Becoming More Me podcast with me, Teresa Lear Levine. You're already enough. But if you're anything like me, you thrive when you're stretching and developing yourself, creating more of the person you feel called to be. This podcast is here to inspire and support you. Let's release the negative, reinforce the positive, and elevate our vibe together as we tap into our limitless potential to transform and grow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Becoming More Me. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Sasha Lipskaia. Sasha is the host of the Being Brave with Sasha Lipskaia podcast, and she is an intuitive mindset coach, purposeful leadership specialist, energy healer, international speaker, and spiritual mentor to powerful people seeking a deeper connection to their true whole, integrated self, and their higher calling. Now, over the last 20 years, Sasha's work has integrated mysticism, a variety of healing modalities, shamanism, mindfulness, de-colonial practices, theatrical and movement-based therapeutic art, yogic philosophy, mindset coaching, and sacred sexuality. That's a lot of ground to cover. Her work has been featured on Yahoo Finance, Business Talk Radio, Canvas Rebel Magazine, Authority Magazine, and Best Self Magazine. And she focuses on guiding her clients to integrate their shadows and rewire their nervous systems while helping them reconnect to wisdom of their body and integrate their soul's guidance. I love all of this. So much of this just resonates with me so much. And I know that Sasha does this from a place that's very grounded so that her clients can create the most impact and meaning. And I love that as well. Thank you for being here so much, Sasha. I'm glad to have you.
Oh, Teresa, thank you so much. You know, I was just mentioning to my coach a few weeks ago, she was asking me about certain podcasts that I've been on. I was like, I was on these podcasts, and I'm really looking forward to this one podcast I'm going to be on. Because I am getting chills just saying that, because I remember when you reached out and I looked at, I listened to your podcast, I saw your guest, and I was like, this is literally, if you go to a dinner party, like, what would be your ideal dinner party? Like, that would be my ideal. Like, I'd be like, I want to hang out with these people. And so I get to go to this incredible, just opportunity to meet you. So thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm just as honored to have you here. And I always love it when that resonates. And I know from reading through what you do, so much of what you do aligns with what I do with my clients. And I just always enjoy these kind of expansive conversations where we can kind of play off of each other and learn new things from each other. That's what it's all about, as we become more of who we're meant to be in this world and help other people to do the same. So that's what it's all about.
Exactly.
So I'd love to start by just getting a better understanding of who you are, what your life looks like, so that we can really just paint a picture of what it's like to, be you, live your life, get to know you in a more personal way. So maybe you could share some of the things. I know as we were setting up, you're traveling right now and other things are going on. So what's your life like when you're working, when you're not working? Who do you spend your time with? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a beautiful question. I don't often get to ask or answer it. What is my life like? I feel like my whole life was what I'm doing now in terms of my lifestyle, which is I feel a calling to do certain things. Just again, how we do one thing is how we do everything, right? So I live very intuitively, and I feel that my life reflects how I work with my clients as well, which is, I have an idea, I have a plan, I have a goal, I have a vision, absolutely. And then I just surrender to what comes through as the truth. And often it doesn't look anything like what I think. And it's all like we just talked about that. It's always better. But in the moment, it feels like it's the unknown, right? It's the dark side of the dark side of that coin of I have no idea. And I got to walk my talk. So my life right now looks like, a lot of it, like I'd say 60 to 70% of what I actually do in my life day to day is I actually practice what I teach my clients, which is I do a lot of contemplative practice, embodiment work, again, exploring sacred sexuality. And we can go into that. But no, it doesn't mean, I sit at home and I do tantra all day long. It means I'm out there walking around, going to the gym, going to a yoga class, buying groceries, just observing and contemplating what it is that I'm experiencing from that place of being with everything, and knowing that within every moment there is something. like a miracle that's waiting to reveal it. And I call it a miracle because it is. Once you actually pay attention, there is something that could become a very important lesson for what I'm called to do. Like specifically, as I'm walking, like, you need to do this. And it will map onto my plan, my goal, right? So the other side of my life is I coach my clients, right? I write, I record my podcast, my YouTube videos. So artistic practice, creative practice, again, very much integrated in what I teach, because that is part of you developing your intuition and actually allowing it to go through, because it starts to, right? In the intuitive channel starts to feel like home. So again, a lot of my life is, and I say to my clients, I created this job, literally this job description that you just read. I was like, that's a lot. I created it so that I could do what I've done always, which is I talk to what I call God, to the divine, to the universal field of consciousness all the time. And I just want to do that. So however I can do that, I will find a way. And like yesterday at the gym, I was doing that. I was like, I'm losing interest in the gym. Okay, maybe this for now, I'm kind of done with going to the gym regularly. Maybe it's time to go back to yogic practice more consistently, because I'm called to that feminine flow, right? And that was a more rigid masculine structure, which I needed at that moment. So all of that. And I'm like, wow. And nobody knows, right? Because it's just this girl doing this, this and that. And she gets on calls, just, but the work happens when I'm not working. So, and then I can embody the work, right? And then I realize that actually that's why I've built what I've built, is because I realize that the most important and the most valuable, and also me, right? The most me part of my work is really what I embody when I come to a conversation like this, or to a client's call, or to a group session I'm hosting, or to developing a course, which was what I've been doing for the past week. All of that this is the work. This is the work. And so it's never over, and that's amazing. Right. And so my life always will just support however I can best do that work. If it's being in Medellin, which is where I'm now, which it is, then great. But I decided I'm not going to extend my stay, which I was going to do because it felt like, oh, I'm going to go do shamanic training in Peru. I'm going to do this. And actually, intuitively, I know my ego is getting distracted with all these shiny things, which are, yes, useful, amazing, but I don't need that right now. I have that. What I want to do is go deeper into this, and it's not very sexy, but it's the most interesting thing. Go back to Quebec and go to town in terms of the next phase, which is getting certified certified, I want to call certified, but getting more deeply immersed, and yes, in a way certified in internal family system therapy and archetypal work from a kind of Carolyn Myss, if you know her work, with her institute. So we'll go that's what I need to do now. I'm going to go back to school, like full time, so to speak, not stay here and just, because again, it's like the intuitive knowing is so clear. You can't even start arguing. It's like, but I'm here, but this makes sense. Like, yeah, but it doesn't matter what makes sense to your mind. It's the whole point. The shadow side of it is, what have you not revealed? This brought you here.
Yeah.
But it won't take you to the next step. So do you want to go to the next step or stay here? It's like, no. I'm like, yeah. So no matter how good it feels, right? The comfortable part of our lives is never where the truth actually lies. So that's my answer. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's everything. Yeah.
So many things that resonate, and I'm trying to remember all of them so I can go back and kind of say my pieces about them. But two of the things that you said were that you were working with a coach, and also that you're doing the same things that you use in your own coaching. And those are two really important things to me. I know I have a resource called the Better Therapy Checklist, and those are two of the things I always say to people when they're looking for people to work with. Make sure whoever you're choosing is actually like fresh in their practices, they're using them, and that they're also getting help, coaching, something to uplevel their lives from another source, and they're not stagnant. So that's awesome. I applaud you for walking your walk and always doing things to elevate yourself. I have the same certification itis that you seem to have. And right. Shiny object. Yeah. I'm way better about it now than I used to be, but you've got like a ton of different certifications.
Yeah.
Which one do you think has been the most, like, that lends the most to like your business and your style? Like if there was like one certification that you're like, I wouldn't be like who I am or what I am or doing what I do without that. Is there one that you feel like really stands out to you?
So interesting. God, everything. And no, but there is one specific one, and I want to shout out Mana Academy, Intuitive Coaching Academy, which they train coaches very specifically, right? Life coaches, but they integrate the science of intuition. And so I've always done that. And so the past, 10 years, I got my certification as life coach over 10 years ago. And I was, again, expanding my modalities. I went to grad school. I did all these things.
Right.
And Atman is very special to me because I came in as a student saying, right, I know everything. I don't need another coaching. I could get all these other way, but not coaching. And again, intuitively, and no, you need to go in because the modality of intuition, which you have been using, you just didn't realize how, right? And you didn't realize it was actually very scientifically approved, so to speak, right? You could actually speak to, logical, very, very grounded people about intuition now in a different way. So I needed to understand, right, what language I was actually speaking, and so that I could be more free in being me. So I enrolled in the academy, and they're incredible. And then I ended up actually being invited to teach and coach as part of the faculty, and that was absolutely transformed. So I was more of a student, right? Because I was teaching coaching and I was learning how to teach and coach within that environment, which of course expanded my capacity as a coach, as a teacher, as a facilitator. And also, again, whatever I'm doing now and amalgamating all of these certifications and again, discerning, right, which ones I need very much comes out of being in that environment of a very high level, rigorous training. Like that training was exceptional, and having been on both sides of it, yeah. And I remember just seeing and feeling certain little things. Like, remember, you get a course or you become a student somewhere, and you start getting all this information and value, and it's great, and it's a lot, right? And then you come out as I don't really know what I learned. Like, there was a lot, and then there would be something that you get the value, you get the information, but there will be this one thing, right? And it's a word, even. It might be a concept that you may even have heard, because it's not new. Nothing true is new, right? But it's being delivered in a way that just goes heart to heart. You're ready to receive it. The teacher is ready to teach it. And so Heather Alice Shea, who created the company and who was teaching, when I remember her speaking about coaching in certain ways, and I just felt this depth of love, because coaching has a very bad rap often. I was like, oh, it's not therapy, and it's not this, and it's not regulated, and everybody calls themselves a coach, and what does it even mean? And then I really felt this pride, like, no, this is what coaching is. I don't need to prove it to anyone. You need to experience it. But when you know what you're doing, when you, like you said, constantly up leveling, you want to up level because you understand it's a profession. I was an actor for a while. Like, it's always, you have to keep training, right? You're an athlete. And I was like, oh, like, this person gets it, and they're coming from a place of, like, she's a psychotherapist. Like, she was bringing every part of her expertise that actually served coaching in a way that nobody else was. And I thought, my goodness, like, she's not saying anything new, but the way she's saying it, right, the way she's delivering it, just comes into my soul and expands my capacity to then say, well, what is me? So I ended up leaving that position because I was like, well, I need to do my work, and I need to deliver what's coming through me now in a way that I could never before. And, that was it. So that was one of the most meaningful experiences and trainings that I've ever had. And I'll always be grateful for just saying yes to it. Because at the time I was like, well, this makes no sense. Like, what are you doing? Another certification, but this is like a big one and you don't need it. It's like, no. If your intuition says yes, trust me, you just don't know. You don't know what it's about. It's not about certification, right? Nobody cares about your certification, but they care about your work, and they will tell right away, right? If the person...
They care about your results.
Yeah. If they're really there to receive, right? Not to stay stuck, which is a whole different story. First of all, you'll attract people who actually want to receive. That's the intuitive message I got this morning. I was like, what's my message? I was like, give to those who want to receive. And I was like, oh, that's so humbling. But because, again, coaches and helpers, this dark side of it, the shadow of the wounded healer. It's like, I want to help everyone, the savior, right? That triangle of, I'm going to save everybody. Like, no. That doesn't serve. There's a time to experience that, so it doesn't work. But we came to transcend that. Serve those who want to be served, right? And they will receive, but they will know that you can serve. And that's really important. So no hiding, right? And if you're not ready to serve, don't. Don't. Do the work. Yeah.
I think any work that's going to expand your intuition is going to make any other work that you do even more
Exactly.
So,
taking it seriously. Absolutely. Yeah. So there you are.
And I'm also a huge fan of Caroline Myss's work. I've read every book she's put out there. I've trained with her too. And her energy anatomy was a game changer for me as far as understanding energy and the chakra system and everything else. And able to really understand the way that we manifest in a totally different way, and the way that we
Mm,
get in our own way of it also. So yeah,
mhm.
have fun with whatever it is you're going to be doing with her and learning from her next.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So if we go back
Mhm.
to kind of like
Yeah.
intuition, I'd
Yeah.
love to talk about kind of differentiating your voice of
Mm,
intuition from the voice of the ego mind and how that
mm,
discernment can really help us to embody more of our purpose, more of our potential. Can you
yeah.
elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah. So, well, again, I always say, and I'm sure you can relate to this, the answer is in your practice, right? So, whenever you feel like, well, I'm not hearing my intuition, right? Or I don't know, or if it's not my intuition, practice, right? It's not like one day, like, well, now I know, right? Maybe, yes. And for some, that could be. But most of the time, again, we're born in a culture. And if you know Dr. Gabor Mate's work on, again, just the toxic culture, we do live in a toxic culture. We absolutely do. Now, do I think it's bad? No, I think that it's great that we're aware of it. I don't think it's great we live in it. I think it's great we're aware of it. And it's a good way for us to actually say, well, like any, again, dark night of the soul or any experience that is deeply, deeply hurtful is like, well, I don't want to be here. Right. So, and I can get out of it. Right. It's that, oh, I get to get out of it. So whatever brought you there won't kick you out because what brought you there is they did it. It's happened. I don't know. Right. No, I'm part of it. Right. What's in one is in the whole. So, and again, this is why decolonial practices. How am I colonizing myself? How am I pressing myself? Right. How am I judging, rejecting, putting my own shadows right in that place of no, 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 no. And that's what I see in the world. So when we want to speak about intuition, knowing the difference and discernment is key, is first you have to actually decide and then choose to train yourself to trust your intuition and also train yourself to receive those messages, right? So you need to actually work on you being that channel that receives. And that includes a lot of things, but they don't have to be complicated. And by a lot, I mean, it includes not just, right, meditating, which is like, oh, meditate. It's like, well, what does that even mean? Right? What does that even mean? And what if the meditation that everybody tells you should be doing doesn't feel true to you, right? It's not your way of connecting to your higher self, whatever you want to call it, which is again, your intuition. Let's just again discern what it is from everything else to me and what I learned and what I understand, and we could be wrong, but this is what feels true to me. It's a channel, it's your nervous system, right? It's a channel that goes from your brain to your heart to your gut, and it reads information that is beyond time and space, right? So this is how I'm getting chills right now, or I can get a vision, or I can hear something. The difference is when I do, I listen and pay attention, and I then go to town and understand what it means. And because I understand the language of my intuition, I know how it talks to me. My intuition won't talk to me the same way yours does, right? So an image that comes to me, like I see a red dress right now. A red dress in your intuitive mind might mean and probably will mean different things, but there are different levels to discern. So all this to say that you absolutely have to choose to start training yourself as that
Yeah.
vessel. So that intuitive channel goes through your body, which is why a lot of what I do comes back to, again, embodiment. Sacred sexuality is all about embodying the sexual energy inside of you. You are
Yeah.
already holding it, but you're not embodying it most of the time. And most of us, again, toxic culture, oppression of your creativity, of your desire, of your truth, and your sexuality, your sexual energy is that which creates everything. So you're
Yeah.
literally saying no, right? And then your intuition is directly linked to that because it tells you that's how I see it. So I work in that almost like that chakra system, but this is how I have literally felt it to work. It starts like a fire, right? This fire
Mhm.
inside of your belly, your gut, men or women, gender non-specific, starts lighting you up with life force. And then as kids, we often get the message of that's not safe. Push it down. Close up. You don't belong. Shut up. Right. Or pretend to be someone else. So then you don't know even you don't even know what it's like to embody it and you feel scared of it. And you also know that once you do, most of what you've created being detached from again that fire and your intuition created a life that isn't true.
Yeah.
So let me backtrack. So that's the fire of your, again, your sexual energy, your creativity. It goes up and then it comes into your heart. Now, your heart is where you read intuitive information from. Some people will feel it in their gut or they will get a vision, but it starts, right? Its entrance point, it starts to reveal itself in your heart. So your heart field will read information. So how do you train that? Well, you have to understand again Is your heart open? Is it closed? If it's closed, if you don't actually feel anything, then you have to start feeling safe in actually feeling things. So feeling safe with your body, within the environment you are, to receive those messages. And then from that place, actually starting to discern the language that comes through your body. And once you do, understanding what it actually says, right? So this is a yes and this is a no. This is bad, don't do it. This is yes, go for it. Because again, fear can manifest the same way as an excited, intuitive hit, but it's not the same, right? But it's feeling the same because your body has that excitement as like something is happening, except this is a fear of your ego being, oh no, I'm gonna get X'd out of my job here, versus your body being, this is dangerous, right? So there is a fear, and then there is the fear of your ego being like, okay, she's about to actually hear the truth. Discerning the truth of your heart from the truth of your ego is how I call it. So to answer your question, you have to understand how your heart says yes to you, how it says no. And to do that, you need to first let your body become safe in actually experiencing the truth.
Yeah.
Second, learn to discern how the truth manifests. Is it a vision? Maybe it's a lot of things, but just, oh, this feels like a yes. This is a yes. And it's very simple once you start training yourself. You have to have somebody actually teach you, or you have to learn from somebody you trust. It's like, oh, this is the exercise. This is a yes. This is a... And the more you practice, the more, again, intuitive and subconscious, right? It becomes like, oh, I just know. How do you know? Well, I just know, and you don't doubt it. And because you don't doubt it, your energetic field is that much more open, and so you're receiving more guidance. And then you include your brain, your logical head brain, as they call it, to say, oh well, and this is what I'm going to do about it, right? And of course, and then you integrate everything. Your whole body is part of the process, but you actually, in that moment, it's like this beautiful loop. As you're hearing the messages, as you're interpreting them, as you're discerning them, like I said, what I do is 8%, I just talk to the divine. That's actually what it is. That's what it is. I'm talking to something that knows everything and knows what's best for me and wants me to hear it so that I can benefit the world by embodying it. And I know that's true. Now, are we doing that? Most of the time we aren't. We're doing a lot of things, but that's something we don't do. And meditation, and again, embodiment work and all these things, sometimes we only do them as an escape. As I want to medicate myself, I want to feel better. I don't want to be stressed out. That's great. That's awesome. But you're taking literally like the elixir of life, and you're just taking a little whiff to feel better, and then you're spitting it out and you're going back. It's like, no, drink it, taking it, realize it actually came from you, and then live from that place. So this, to answer your question, is it's in practice. It's in daily 5 to 10 minutes, just contemplating what feels true, learning how to open your energy centers, using your body as that vessel, and knowing that as you do, you will feel better. You absolutely will, but it won't be your ego's idea of better. It won't be this comfortable, just, oh, I just feel elated all the time. No, it will just feel like truth. I know the truth. I live the truth. I'm in integrity of the truth. And that feels good. And this could be challenging. And that feels good because that's what I'm here for, right? I'm here to grow. So, and expand, which is the law of the universe. If it doesn't feel that way, something is off. So yeah, so that's I don't know if that answers your question exactly, but
Oh,
I know we can go.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And again, I resonate with all of it, as I do a lot of the work with the chakra system, as it sounds like you do also, and all the things. It's always so important to get the lower chakras like firm, pure, everything. I always say otherwise, it's like you've got like a spaghetti colander and all your manifestations just flow straight through them. And you've got to have that like fortified container to like hold them in. So
oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna this from now on, I'm just going whatever. Like, you have to connect, otherwise it's a disembodied, literally colonized experience. It's like in the spaghetti.
Colonize. I like this. There's some new connections here, some new ways of bringing it home for people, because I think that makes sense to people, because they don't understand otherwise why, when they're bringing in these like seventh chakra ideas and they're bringing them down and they're bringing them down, and then all of a sudden like they can't voice them, or they don't come out in their voice the way that they want to because something's blocked in the throat. Or then we get to the heart, and we all know the saying like her heart wasn't in it. And it's all like a blockage. If we can get it down that far and it's still like wonky, like it's just manifesting like the wrong way. And then we finally get it all the way down to like the point with physical manifestation. And it's like not even what we started with, because all these channels that are like all funked up. So so I totally relate with all of that. And I think it's also important for people to understand, when it comes to intuition, that uncertainty is just a human condition. Like we're never going to get out of feelings of uncertainty, but a well-developed intuitive side and sense of intuition can help us have a lot more certainty and groundedness in making decisions.
Yes.
So
Yes.
uncertainty is never
Yes.
going away. That's not new.
No.
And
No.
but learning how to handle it in a way
Mm-hmm.
that feels safer and more grounded,
Mm.
that's like what it's about to me, at least.
Exactly. Exactly. And I love that you said, well, we're human, right? And we come
Right.
here again, I think, and I know that you think that as well, because if you do this work, you can't think otherwise, because
Yeah.
otherwise it doesn't make sense.
And there's
We
no
came here with
modality that's going to get us out of the human condition.
no, but that's not the point, right? We
Right.
didn't come here to get
Exactly.
out of it. We came here because it's a spiritual curriculum that we chose so
And we
that we
signed
can
up for it.
expand.
Yep.
Yes. So we can expand whatever is happening here to a place that, yeah, we leave it better. That's all. And if it's one person, you leave it better, right? One person, like I don't, and I'm all about impact and go big and go
Right.
home, both go home and
Love
then
it.
go big. That's what I want. I want to go home first and then go big from that place. But all of that actually is happening when this one person, and literally one person in front of you, is truly transformed, right? And it's not about, again, quality, yes, but the quality of you necessarily knowing, oh, I did a phenomenal job, right?
Yeah.
No, you just know it's not about that, and because you can't do anything but that. And then it's not about quantity. So it is the quality of your work, but it's not you. The work just comes through you. And then it's not the quality of your performance, right? That's what I want to say, because you're not performing. And then it's not about the quantity, it's the one. But like you said, it's the uncertainty of, I don't know what's next, starts feeling actually like a sign you're doing it right. From the, I don't know what's next, I'm going to go there. It's like, I don't know what's next. I'm excited to find out. I'm curious.
Yeah.
But that can
Or
only happen
open
when
to
you're
this or
safe.
something better.
Exactly. This or something, and it's going to be that way. It might not be that way in your head right away, like, but your body's saying, yes, this
Yeah.
is going to be what you need. So trust. And because you trust, you actually receive. Because
Yep.
if you don't trust, right, if you're like, I'm going to do it anyway, it's like you don't actually have faith, and you go in closed. It's like making love with somebody and closing your body, right? What are you going to experience? Pain, unease, mostly also feeling of abuse almost, right?
Mhm.
From that's no. So that's why you have to train yourself to actually receive, read that intuitive information, understand how it works, and then go in with that feeling of, I don't know, but I feel safe to find out. And I'm actually really curious, because a part of me, a very important part of me, knows this is what's best.
Yeah.
And I'm focusing on that because it's natural to me now. Versus, maybe 6 months ago, it was the most unnatural thing. So we have to retrain ourselves, because this is the most natural thing. We just don't know how to live that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like that's, yeah.
Yeah. I'd love
Yeah.
to take some of this into like
Yeah.
the next realm of
Yeah.
about like relationship and
Yes.
just desires and pleasure and things.
Yes.
So for those who are in relationship or calling
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship to their lives,
Yeah.
how do you recommend magnetizing like
Mm,
soulmate
mm,
energy, learning
mm.
to like receive and hold what you really want and desire?
Yeah.
I made
So,
like a big goal of mine this spring, like focusing
yeah.
on greater pleasure. So like,
Yeah. Oh, well,
around that.
well, you're not alone archetypally in the universe. This is, again, the inner child growing up, but
Yeah,
safely,
absolutely.
right?
'Cause
When you've done that
like we've
work.
all been through our pain. There's a ceiling to that,
Yeah.
and I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever been to the ceiling of pain, thank
Yes.
goodness. But there is no ceiling or upper limit on pleasure. And I'd love
No.
to see how expansive things
Yeah.
can get there. So
Yeah. Okay. So I love that question. So again, magnetizing soulmate energy, and it's everything. It's not just a partner physically, right? It's your business. It's people in your life, right? It's experiences and the lifestyle you have. Like
yeah,
that's the soulmate energy. And we think about attracting and magnetizing. And again, I love Carolyn Myss and the way she defines, right, how archetypes attract. Right. And then one of her collaborators, Robert Hotto, also does a lot of work in that. And I really appreciate his definition. So I'll actually refer to him. And again, he stands on the shoulders of many people, I'm sure, but I'll stand on
we
his
all
in this
do.
moment. I'll stand on his in the moment, and I'll say, we forget sometimes that magnetism, or I want to be magnetic. I want to magnetize, right? Yes, but magnetizing also means repelling. It also means attracting things you don't want. Like you're a magnet, right? But to what? And to what then you become literally an anti-magnet, right? It's like, I'm going to demagnetize this because now I'm magnetizing this. There is a cause and effect to everything. And so how you magnetize soulmate energy as you understand in your body, right? Literally, what you literally nailed is like how there's no ceiling to pleasure, right? You understand in your body how pleasure, and not the pleasure that your ego wants you to identify as like, oh, eat something, right? You'll receive pleasure, or have an orgasm. Yes, that's an experience of pleasure. Good, you can
But
discern that's
wait, there's
pleasure.
more.
But wait, that's not it. That's actually like the tip of the iceberg, right? Don't you want to go to that limitless experience of pleasure, right? And that's what Tantra is actually all about. That's what sexuality is. And that's what's in intimate relating and like yogic sexuality, which what it is the experience of you quite literally making love to yourself at all times. And that's how you become magnetic to something that will then not only allow you to go higher and more in that experience, but that won't overwhelm you, right? Because you will overwhelm yourself. You're just trying to get more pleasure. It's like, I want more pleasure. Like, there's a limit of how much your body can actually enter. Whereas here it's energetic. So your body will never attract something that's actually not nourishing, not in service, and not giving you that ultimate optimized experience of this is me and my body, like feeling so much joy and so much desire to be myself and to reveal who I am, because I want you to know how much I love myself. And I want you to realize that that love, you get to experience it with me. Like,
It's
you
available.
get to go, it's available. You get to literally go in and drink it in, but I'm not going to lose any of it. I'm just going to expand my capacity to hold it, right? Because I'm not trying to save you with it. I'm not trying to like make you take it. I'm not trying to, again, have somebody else fill me. I am saying I am so in love with myself. I have so much pleasure in my body. And this, speaking to your question, you're a feminine being. I feel energetically, again, they're masculine and feminine in every being, but emotionally, you're a feminine being. And so your desire for pleasure, again, it's not random. It's, I want to experience the pleasure of being who I am in my body so that I can biophysically, literally magnetize whatever in this world wants to come and co-create with me. And then from that place, we create the world that we want to live in. But I'm not trying to do anything. I am simply doing me, right? And that's the feminine way. I'm being me. I'm creating all the time. But I absolutely know that whatever I'm magnetizing will support the creation of something it's never been. And it's beyond me. It could be a child, a business, a book, whatever, right? A garden. But my job is to literally allow myself to become fertilized, right? Impregnated with that idea, with that feeling, with that knowing, and the pleasure in your body that you can cultivate, and men and women both, right? That sexual energy, the energy of creation, allows you to open your nervous system and then feel as if, which it's not because you're faking it, you actually do feel it because it's true, but your mind's like, it's as if. No, it's not as if, it's happening. You feel as if you're with the most beloved person in your life at all times, right? Which is you. And that is your soulmate energy. And then from that place, whoever is ready to actually give to you with that kind of love and devotion and respect and support, they will be magnetized to you because they will know it'll be actually safe to love you that way because you are able to receive that love. You're not going to sabotage it. You're not going to run away from it. You're not going to make them feel bad for loving you that way or try to change because you're not comfortable with it. You're there for it and they will feel nourished by it, right? So whether they're a man or a woman, doesn't matter. But the polarities that you play, right? And again, we're talking about pleasure. We're talking about the feminine principle, which in men and women both, you have to identify which one is most dominant and then connect to it, but also know that whether or not it's feminine or masculine, the pleasure in your body is coming from the feminine energy in you, and cultivating that is, and that's how you magnetize what is in your highest good. But practicing being in the pleasure of your body, which includes self-pleasure. So it could be sexual specifically, right? Like, self-pleasure, but self-pleasure goes beyond what we consider it, right? Self-massage, it's whatever, dance, right? It's non-linear movement. It's being in nature and actually allowing yourself to feel, I am having sex with the world right now. I feel nourished and taken and held and open, and I want to be more me because I feel safe in doing that. And I don't even know, I didn't even know that part of me, but that part of me is coming through because I'm ready to birth it. And something in this world is holding space for it. And therefore I know I can too. So you said something very important, receiving and attracting and magnetizing. Can you hold it? And the answer is you have to embody your own capacity to hold it. You have to embody a part of yourself that was never able to hold it. So you have to, again, coming back to the beginning, work on the channel that you are,
And
knowing
the
that you
uncertainty, that darn
and the
uncertainty again.
uncertainty and the uncertainty. Can
It's
I don't
always
know.
there.
Can I give birth? Right. It's like, can I give birth? I don't know. My body's like, ah, my mind's like, I can't do it. This is ridiculous. How could this happen? And it's the most miraculous thing in the world. And of course you can, and you're designed for it, but also what? Right. And yes. So that's
And
the
I had
miracle of
4 kids
life.
and I was uncertain with each and every one of them.
Well, there you go. I was like, so if that is true, what
Even
else
though
is
I
true?
already had the proof after the
And
first one that I could do it.
but isn't it crazy? Because our mind's like, well, you have proof. Yeah, but I also have proof that this is physically impossible. Well, both can be true, but which one is actually true?
Yeah,
Both
I
can be
never
true in your
really
head, right?
chose to
Well, you
believe
can
that I
hold
couldn't
both.
do it, but that
Yes.
little voice would pop up like, oh, I don't know, maybe this time it won't be like last time. And it never was, but it was still good.
So your heart will tell you, like, is this true? No. I'm like, like, give it. But also my head is like, but it's true. You can hold the contradiction, right? Like, yes, a part of me believes it's not true. That's okay. But I am not that part of me, right? And so what is the truth? And then you're giving yourself the gift also of knowing that you could go fighting. It's like, I know it's true, but I don't know. And then actually you can pause and be like, can I extend my capacity to be with the truth that I'm scared and that I also know that I can and I will and I have to and I want it. And then from that place, how much easier the experience of receiving and holding that which you know is yours, but you don't know you can't hold becomes, right? It
And
becomes
this is
effortless.
exactly one of those
Yeah.
places where you already know this,
Yeah.
I already know this, but I have to say
Yeah.
this, like nervous system regulation makes this
Yes.
possible. Like if you're not regulating your nervous system, you can't figure this out. You can't do this.
No.
Like you can't go like logically, I get this,
No.
and then try to
Yeah.
make it happen. It has to happen like mind, body, spirit, all that stuff. And the nervous system is
Exactly.
a huge like pathway to getting that actually to come to fruition and happen and
Yes.
really feel it,
Yes.
really believe it. And that's
Yeah.
what I think people miss. Because I think sometimes it's like, well, I don't understand what the nervous system has to do with it. It has
Yes.
everything to do with
Mm-hmm.
this. Everything. So I just have to interject
Everything,
there.
everything. And yeah, and let me say again, like the intuitive channel in you,
Mhm.
that it's a technology. Okay, let's just get very clear. It's a technology, it's physical, it's inside of your body. And
Yeah.
it is enmeshed in your nervous system. Enmeshed, like your spine, the channel in between your spine and your front, like your front heart, right? All of your nervous system literally, it's the only way, right? Like you said, it's the only way you could ever regulate any kind of intuitive awareness to be true to you, right? Because it can be true, but you're not hearing it and you're overwhelmed. Your nervous system is where you are actually able to get embody your sexual energy.
Yeah.
And you're also going to be able to understand how your body, like you said, it's everything, because you will extend and expand your well, your energetic capacity to not only hold but integrate what's coming into you healthily, so
And
that
feel safe doing it.
well, that's how you can't, right? So you're taking a drug, and if your body feels, I will reject it. Whereas here it's like, well, I'm taking in something, it's not a drug, except it's a natural drug, right? It's me. I'm integrating my own, literally my own wisdom, my own energy, but I've never been safe in doing that. So how can I hold it? And it's me. Well, nervous system regulation. And that's intuitive training equals intuitive training. You could
Yeah.
call it more woo-woo words, but that's what it is. It's working with your nervous system and understanding that your brain is also in your heart and also in your gut. And so all three have to be working together. And then the rest of your body is absolutely an integral part of it. Right. So it's not just sitting here, right? It's like, oh, let's hold on. Like, whoa, my hands, my feet, right? Literally every part of you. And yeah, we can just go to this everything. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So what are some ways that you work with
Mm,
people? Like how do you coach? Do you do one-on-one or group or
yeah.
what are the ways that you work with
Mm.
people?
So I will mostly work one-on-one, and I realize how much of the work I do is influenced and informed by the container that I create with each individual person, right?
Yeah.
So they inform the work so much. So like I'll never do the same thing with anyone, right?
Yeah, me neither.
And so it's a co-creation, right? It's a container that I bring, but then they feel safe to go into and then reveal what needs to be revealed. And I don't know what that's going to be. And I have an idea energetically, but I don't know. And then from that place, I will build a curriculum again, intuitively and consciously, to bring in whatever modality serves. So yes, it's one-on-one work, usually 6 to 12 months. So it's like I call it an individualized mystery school. So it's revealing who you are, right? And figuring out what you want and then what to do about it in whatever way serves you right now. And then I also do group coaching, but I do it with other people. So I go in, containers like I work with high level entrepreneurs where I am the mindset intuitive development coach. And I work as part of this, high level business development program or wellness programs. I do courses, right? I teach, I do events. So like, I really love, again, the idea of integrating every part of you, right? So every part of me is I'm a performer, I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker. So how can I do all of it? And all of it has to be completely cohesive, right? And serves like, well, every part of my work will reflect that somehow. Even in a coaching session, I will say this, I will coach you, but it won't be classical coaching. There will be a moment where the archetypal intuitive reading will come in and I'll actually tell you, this is what I see. And this is what I feel. You take it, you might not want it and it's fine, but that's the truth. And for what this moment is, right? And I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm often wrong. But in this moment, that's what feels true. And maybe the gift is it doesn't feel true to you. And underneath that question of why is the truth, right? So now, is that classical coaching? No, because coaching will never tell you what to do, right? It will always just hold the space for you to discover that. But that's actually my way of helping you discover what's true. So yes, one-on-one, group, all of the things. And also, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, always, for sure.
Yeah.
Where are the best places for people to find more of what you do or to connect with you?
Sure. Well, so my website would be a home for everything, sashalipskaia.com. You have, all of the ways that you can contact me on there, links to my podcast, my YouTube, my blog. I also write tantric poetry you can find in there because, again, part of my work. But also I'm pretty active on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram and YouTube. And it's always at Sasha Lipskaia. It's very simple. And I want to say to your audience that I've just recently created a sexual embodiment, this energy that we just talked about, how to do it, what to do. I shared a few practices in my YouTube channel. There are a few things you can do, but one of the practices that I've been really like amalgamating everything, and it's a little bit of an intense, it's intense deep dive, but you will learn if you actually want to, right? And you will integrate it into your life and make it shorter if you need to. Because people are, it's so long, 20 minutes. I can't. You can do 20 minutes and then you can do it for 10, right? But learn how to do it. Give yourself that. So you can download it.
Not all that long, guys.
Not that long.
To change your life.
You stand in line grocery store, right? Like 20 minutes.
Scroll social media.
Scroll social media, 20 minutes, right? Figure out which cereal to buy. All important things, right? Netflix. How many times I just spent 30 minutes figuring out what movie to watch, and I'm still I don't want to watch anything.
Part of the reason why I don't watch TV.
Me neither. I was like, I
don't feel like sitting there scrolling through choices.
No, unless it's a clear, like you need to watch this, there's something important. And that way I'm not scrolling. I'm just like, this is what I need, right? Yeah. So we're living in a toxic culture. One of the tenets of which is distracting us from what most matters. So scrolling, I'm going to choose things. I don't know it's because it's not, just stop choosing.
Yeah.
You're not in the right room. Get out of the room.
And also, speaking of distracting us, I think you were going to tell us about what this thing was on YouTube.
So this thing you have to do is not getting distracted. It's a practice. You can sign up to get it for free on my website if you go to sashalipskaia.com/manifest. So it's an embodiment practice.
I will make sure that all those links are in the show notes.
I appreciate it.
To find. Yeah. I'm gonna get myself a copy of that and see what I can do in 20 minutes. And
a lot. You can do a lot.
Are there any other closing thoughts or important things? I know before we got on, we were talking about how we both guessed, and it's always like, you figure like, oh, no, there's that one thing that you wanted to say.
Yeah.
Just put you on the spot and ask if there's like a one thing that you're like, oh, I wish I had the chance to say that, or just a parting message, or
sure,
to know about themselves or life or anything.
Of course. Well, so I want to tell you and anyone listening or watching that your greatest pleasure and desire and gift are connected, and they are hiding under what scares you the most, and also what feels the hardest and impossible to reveal to yourselves. Like, I don't want to see this about me. I don't want to know this about me. I don't know how to talk about this. Underneath that is your greatest power. And that's you revealing more of you, right? And loving more of you so that you can integrate and feel whole to actually live as who you are, and then magnetize what is in your highest good. But know that point of, I don't know if I want to look at this right now. It's not time. It's time. It's time. That's it. Yeah.
I love it. That was a
And
great.
get help and support and guidance and coaching.
Oh,
Again, like
yeah.
be wise about it. If you don't know and I can't, it's true. Yeah, that's is where your wise, powerful, intuitive self says yes. And this is why other people and other ways of helping you exist in the world ask. That's power. That's power and that's wisdom. So do the work and ask for help.
I love
Yeah.
it. Thank
Yeah.
you for ending this on such a high note.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being here today.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate everything that you offered to
Thank
me, to
you.
the listeners, everything. And I really appreciate what you do, Sasha. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. If you loved this episode, please share it with a friend or post on social media and tag me so I can personally connect and thank you. Until next time, keep taking bold and brave action steps towards becoming more of who you want to be in this world. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough. Keep shining your light.